Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Blade Warband. Now, you've probably seen this on the channel before because I have done a short micro playthrough with the Floors Expanded mod, but that was a long time ago, so there's probably plenty of people here who don't even know what this game is, so I figured now would be a good time, since I'm doing the whole one-shots slash brief looks into games that I own but just don't have time for a full playthrough, figured now would be a good time to check it out again. And in that respect, one of these days I'm going to do something similar with Bannerlord, but for now, this is the one that I play more of the two. Anyways, we will start my explanation of what the heck is Blade Warband after starting the new game. Or when we get to it. Now, I'm not actually going to bother to read all of the text in this one, but there are some rather important points it brings up that in a lot of games, these would be relegated to flavor text, or it's there, but it doesn't have any real impact. Not so in Blade Warband. Not so. The most important thing to take note of in this here is the line they mentioned that in the traditional medieval society the game depicts, war and politics are usually dominated by male members of the nobility. And the fact that playing a female character, or someone who isn't a noble, you can still attain the same goals. Just the early game is much more challenging. Basically, you can do all the same things with any type of character, but some of them can have an accelerated starting period, if you will. Because being a woman trying to do stuff that's typically the domain of men in this time period, you will have to do a lot more to prove that you are worthy of the position you're trying to attain. Which is why, for this particular playthrough, which I won't be recording a full one, but I will be doing a run here. Anyways, I will be playing a female commoner for this one. And unlike with Bannerlord, it doesn't actually show you the stats or numbers or anything, but each of these do influence your character's build. And it goes in reverse chronological order, or reverse order I should say, in terms of how difficult you're making things on yourself. Because who your father is influences your social status. So, yes, being a woman is harder than being a man, but being a female noble is easier than being a male son of a thief. Whereas being a female commoner, which is what basically anything on this list below impoverished noble for your father makes you into, being a female commoner is pretty much the most difficult starting position there is. And I imagine your profession as a child had something to do with that. So I will take the path for this that I always do when I feel like being a masochist in this game, be the daughter of a thief and a street urchin. Basically a beggar ourselves. Who became a smith. And when it comes to your motivation for why you actually became an adventurer, I don't think that actually matters for stats. As far as I'm aware, this just is a bit of narrative and role-playing thing, so you can set up a vague motivation for what you're doing, which is kind of nice. The two that I'm the most fond of, though, are loss of a loved one and being forced out of your home. Well, that's what we're going to say here. Become an adventurer and ride to your destiny. Okay, and the game does have an option where you can't quit without saving, but I like being allowed to quit without saving because this game can be somewhat buggy at times. So, having the ability to make backup saves and quit without saving if something goes horrifically wrong, I find to be beneficial to me. Personally, also, I find one-handed weapons the best early game path to take. Archery in this game is just a massive pain in the ass. Because the archery system I've always found very difficult to get my head around. It's just kind of annoying to know if your shot will hit or not. And that's just standard archery. Horse archery is even worse. Which is why I tend to stick to one-handed and sometimes two-handed for my thing with that whole approach. I will put a bunch of points into strength. And one more into intelligence. Let's see. To give a couple points in prisoner management. I'll get into more discussion of this a bit later, but one thing that is going to be your big money-making tool early in the game is capturing people and selling them for ransom money. I want to get myself a bunch of Iron Flesh and Power Strike, as well as some more Weapon Master. That will do. And for name, whatever. I'm just picking something. Works for me. Generally speaking, when it comes to customizing the character in this game, I don't tend to do much myself. The faces, I generally leave as is. I resize the nose a little bit sometimes and change the hair. That's about it. And first thing we have to do is pick our starting area. And I will say this. One thing you don't want to be doing is picking to start in Sargoth or Jelkala, as the Rhodoks and Nords have some pretty nasty starting enemies in them. Praven is generally the basic boys area where you can go if you want to just start out with things on the low level and just slowly ramp up over time, which I'm sure the more talented player could probably handle starting in some of these areas, but I always start in Praven just because I'm average at this game, always have been. So I stick with the starting area that fits my skill level. And then get here, because the enemies in the area are just basically common bandits, and immediately someone tries to kill us. I have a sword now. Thankfully, it's not just daggers. I do wish the game would stop starting me on fucking daggers, honestly. But there we go. That did it. And here comes Tutorial Man. Literally, that is this character's entire purpose. To give you the tutorial. He'll give you some money and you go hire 5 men. I have some tools, a crossbow, and some bolts. That's the first thing I'm going to do, is go to the marketplace here at the castle and sell the items that I don't actually care to make any use of for 348 dinars. And I'll buy a few bags of grain. We're gonna need some food when we start accumulating troops. And this is the overworld map. This is a lot of what you will see when it comes to Mountain Blade Warband. Which, that was probably a good time to talk about what exactly Mountain Blade is as a game. As you might be able to tell from all the stats and everything, it's a character-focused RPG mixed with a kind of adventure thing and an economic simulation. You can set your own goal, and there's several different ways you can go about it, but one of the main long-term goals a lot of players have is to found their own kingdom and become a ruler in your own right, because there's several pre-established kingdoms when you start the game. As you saw on that map there's the Nords, the Vagyars, Kingdom of Swadia, Kingdom of Rhodox, and also the Serenid Sultanate and the Khergit Khanate. And the whole, you want to be a ruler yourself, then can go a couple of different ways. As I mentioned earlier, since I am playing as a woman, here that will make it a lot harder to get people who want to be on my side. Now, the game has a couple of different stats you have to pay attention to. There's, you see here, renown and honor. Basically, how famous are you? How well known you are. Honor is, well, it's like the whole medieval thing of honor. How much are you, how known are you for keeping your word and doing what you say you will? That sort of thing. So, stats with people, if you decide to court someone because you want to marry them, that will show up there. There's just a lot of different status reports and things you can look at. In addition to renown and honor, this one's not showing up yet, but the game also has something called right to rule. As basically, at some point in the history of this world, Calradia, this continent here, used to be ruled by one single empire. And all of the kings claim to be continuing that tradition. So, you just deciding, hey, I am king now, after you take a castle or something, tends to not go over very well, and it sort of rubs them the wrong way. But certain special characters you can meet, and come across some of them later, there are named characters that you can get to join your party, in addition to just recruiting random mooks. And certain of those characters have some diplomatic skills, and they can go off and work on convincing people that you have the right to rule here, which will bring that stat up. So if you're crazy enough to want to leap straight into taking over the world through conquering a singular castle, rather than pledging fealty, getting some territory, and then revolting, then that would be the way to do it. But for now, we're a long way from that. What we need to do is get soldiers to join our army. And I don't actually know what causes this to happen. I imagine there's some degree of randomness, plus your social status probably plays a part. Because we immediately get 5 people volunteering to join up. I've had it before where no one will volunteer at a settlement, or just a single person. But we got 5 right off the bat. So, we've got what we need for the tutorial. So let's go see Tutorial Man. You can do other stuff in the taverns and stuff, and get news and things, and just make yourself more popular if you aren't well liked in the area. There's a lot of variation to it. I'm just sort of going over the super early game stuff, and I'll probably do at least a few videos on Mountain Blade Warband, just because I really like it, even if it won't be a full series. But for now, talk on Tutorial Man. Apparently I need more men. I thought I only needed 5, because I'm a dumbass. Collect at least 5 men. We have 5. He says we need more. Fine. I'll get more men. 5 more. Damn, that's lucky. Deserters, ooh. Yeah. Here's some free advice for anyone who starts playing in Swadia. Deserters are the sort of thing that you want to be taking on right before you're on the level to fight Sea Raiders, basically. They are soldiers from the regular armies of the kingdoms who, as the name suggests, deserted. As such, trying to take them on with what are effectively peasants who are just now learning which direction to point their pointy sticks in when you send them off to war will not end well. That's why you want to avoid that. And now, we will hunt down bandits. We're actually hunting for a very particular group of bandits, not just bandits in general. It's a thing you will see sometimes throughout the game. Enemies highlighted in blue are generally quest opponents. For now, we will just whack these guys. And you always have to fight them. There are 11 of us, and against enemies this week, at this earliest stage, you really do not in any way you have to worry about tactics. Just tell your army to charge and attack people. I'm not going to explain the combat system, by the way. Just know that the way you're moving your mouth when you swing determines the angle of the attack, and you do have to actually hit people properly to do damage. They can dodge around you if you fuck up the angle a bit. Which can, in fact, happen. The horse doesn't do much damage, but it does damage. And that won us that. I need to get myself some better armor and an actual shield. No casualties, which will probably make this one of the best battles we'll have for a long while. Hideout. And yes, get some crappy loot off of them. Okay. Do a slight little rearrangement here. Give me some head armor. Most of their stuff is, in fact, utter trash. And if you stick around, they will potentially decide to shake you down a second time, so you want to leave the area pronto-like. Hey. Now, we are going to attack the hideout. Now, here's the thing with hideout assaults. Your objective, as you might be able to guess, is very simple. You have to kill all the enemies here. If you wipe out every single bandit, then you win. But if you lose the fight, then the hideout will vanish, and you will fail the quest. So, best not to go up against the particularly nasty ones, if you can help it. Not without ample preparation, anyways. There comes more bandit scum. But yeah, you can very much lose this early stage tutorial mission. And that brother looks remarkably like a looter. I almost stabbed him. The advantage to what you get out of the bandit lairs is there's a lot more loot than you get from a singular fight. What you don't get is, well, any money. The only money comes from selling your loot. And some soldiers. Right, I should probably explain that speed up thing. There's a little time skip mechanic you can make some use of while you're moving, which is if you hold down the control key and press spacebar, it will jump time, and I like to skip it ahead by a few seconds at a time so I can still see what's going on to some degree. But things don't take quite as long. Another thing you may have seen, the Some Soldiers Are Ready to Upgrade marker. 2 of our Swatian recruits can now make the transition to Swatian militia, which is the next bit down the chain. Because, yes, the soldiers you recruit actually have their own upgrade trees, and the ones from each individual faction, some are better than others at certain things. Like, in general, the Swatians have the best cavalry, the Nords have the best infantry. Well, the Nords and the Magyars have the best infantry. And I don't remember about the Sarenids, but I think the Kurgits are the best horse archers. It's something like that. I might be getting something off there slightly, but yeah. There are some stupid balances of soldiers that you can put together, combining troops from different factions to support each other, and it's great. It's been a while since I got that far, but yeah. For now, though, let's visit the merchant and sell this junk. I don't have anything I'm going to want to actually pick up right now, but I can get another 97 dinars out of the deal. You won't be getting a whole lot of money from selling loot this early on. There is another way to get money, which we will start looking into fairly soon. Anyways, back to the tavern, because this quest has another little arc to it. Where we fight some bandits in the city streets. Which, yeah. It's a little mini quest that you get from time to time. It's also the annoying type because you can't use the map to find where everyone is. And kind of just have to allow things to happen as they will. And just find people manually. Which I find monumentally irritating. And it makes finding everyone that much harder. But that's it for the bandits. The other nice thing about this tutorial quest is it'll give you some nice money to get started with. Now, we will immediately go to the tavern, because that's all the assignments that there is for this. Our objective is essentially find bandits, kill, capture bandits, loot bandits, make money. And that is the gameplay loop you will follow until you reach the mid-game point where you transition from traveling adventurer to mercenary captain and leading your own private army, because you're just sort of an adventurer with some groupies at this point, essentially. As you see right here, our soldiers are not working for us because we are the protagonist. We have hired them. This is a job for them, so we do have to pay them. And the more elite they become, the stronger, the bigger that cut gets. And here are some looters, so as you can see, they're running away. Enemies will actually do that if it looks like you, and I actually want the enemies to wait here, or the army guys rather. If it looks like you're stronger than the enemy, they will run away. If it looks like you're weaker, they will try and chase you. Now, you will see that I have the club out. Because we are going to knock them the fuck out. And I'm missing a few times because poorly timed hits. And I'm misjudging the angle my attack needs to be. I don't remember. I think we can have 10 people as prisoners with the upgrade I made at the start. I need to time these attacks better. Really fucking bad at that right now. So I'll just knock out everyone. Have to leave some of them behind, but so be it. And you are trying to run. Yeah, how'd that go for you? This probably doesn't need explaining, but if the AI enemies feel like they've lost a battle, they will run away. And we've wounded 9 of them. And indeed, I can take 10 prisoners. Take all 9, and I personally leveled up at some stage. And here he is, the ransom broker. I'll skip the dialogue because it's mostly flavor text, but essentially, he's a slave trader, and we sell people we take prisoner into slavery. Although, part of, and there are 2 of the potential NPCs you can recruit in town. We want to get both of them. I think. However, there is one thing. Some of them do cost money. That's 200 dinars. But we got a decent chunk off of that bit of slave trading, so we can afford it. As I was saying, there is sort of a little bit of a balancing act between the various NPCs you can pick up. The actual character ones, I mean, not the generic soldiers. That being that some of them have clashing personalities and just will not like each other at all. They just won't get along in the slightest. And that's something you have to balance, because if two of them that don't like each other are in the same party for long enough, then they'll start to have arguments, and eventually it'll get to the point where one or the other will just storm off and leave the party. So, you kind of want to be careful and balance things so you don't have clashing personalities in your party members, just to avoid drama like that. In any case, I'm actually going to stop it here for this particular video. I will certainly be back with more Mountain Blade Warband. Even if a full series is very unlikely. That little micro series that I did with Florus is the closest I've come to completing one. I had one in the Prophecy of Pendor mod way back when that I never officially cancelled, but haven't uploaded for in so long I bet most people assumed it was cancelled anyways. And honestly, if I stopped playing, I've stopped playing for so long that I wouldn't know what to do if I loaded it up again. I really wouldn't. Anyways. With that one, I got to the point of having land in my own right. And being a noble. But that's as far as it went. But, for now, this is the end of this video. As I said, there will be more Mountain Blade Warband content, just don't expect a full series or anything. Because this game is so enormous that would be asking a bit much, I feel. But, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to see more like this. And again, if you have any suggestions or ideas for stuff you want to see, leave them down below. See you next time.